All right, Cincinnati athletes, coaches, excited to be joined today by Miss Brigit Reder, soccer coach over at Lakota West High School. And she's everything soccer. She's played at all levels, and I'm excited to have her with us today to share a little bit. But before we kind of get into the hard questions, Brigit, why don't you just take a second, kind of introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, I appreciate jumping on this call and getting to chat with everybody. A little bit about me. Like Matt said, I'm local around the area. I actually played soccer and basketball at Lakota West, and then went on to play collegiate soccer at Ball State University. Um, Afterwards, had the privilege of playing in Seattle with the Seattle Sounders for a season. Um, Followed by Western New York Flash, which is now the North Carolina Courage inside of the NWSL, and then spent 2 seasons playing over in Östersund, Sweden, professionally. So that's where I again had the opportunity to kind of continue the career and continue to learn and be a student of the game. And then I returned, and now I'm back coaching at the alma mater and going on season 5 actually at Lakota West as the head women's varsity coach there. So it's been a fun little run, and now I get to pour back in. So
Yeah, awesome. So a couple softball questions here. What was your favorite part about playing professionally in Sweden?
oh, uh, nothing even soccer related. It was the chance to travel and like see a new country, and Sweden is beautiful. A lot of untouched land, which is a nice change from where we're at here. So yeah, it's wonderful country, wonderful people.
Now, are you still in contact with some of the girls you played with there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay in touch with quite a few of them over there, whether they're playing or not, and actually most of my coaching staff that I still had over there. So still strong connections, and it's nice to continue those friendships that were developed.
Are they going to be calling you out of retirement anytime soon?
They tried a few years ago, but I told them we're done.
Okay. All right. So, Ball State, what is Ball State's mascot?
The Cardinals,
Okay. All
chirp
right.
chirp,
There,
Cardinals.
there you go. Chirp, chirp. I like it. I like it. Well, awesome. Well, hey, tell us a little bit about kind of coaching amidst this whole coronavirus thing. These last, say, 6 weeks, sports have kind of come to a screeching halt. What's that been like for you? What would you normally be doing with your girls versus kind of what things look like right now for you?
Yeah, and truly right now, this is kind of a down season, in terms of high school side of things, because our athletes are just so involved with the club scene right now. So typically, communication isn't as frequent as if obviously we're seeing each other every day in the fall, but still kept in touch with the girls. Provided them with either weight training or ball work, things like that, as they've reached out or proactively reaching out to them. Having some Zoom calls with our leadership in terms of our, incoming senior class. So trying to at least look forward to putting some pieces in place for the program next year, and just kind of touching base with the student athletes, in the meantime, just checking in how they're doing, how's the studies going with all the changes now, things like that. So more so being a resource for them, keeping the continual check-ins to make sure they're doing all right. And then hopefully things lighten up here in terms of restrictions and we can get back face to face with each other.
Yeah. Do 100% of your young ladies, do they all play club?
I would say 95% do, yeah, in some fashion. There's the few that, may be running like track right now and not doing a, club season. So for them, it's looked a little bit different, just because they don't have their track season. And I have the opportunity to be involved with our student athlete advisory board at Lakota West. So get a chance to interact with all athletes, and their representatives from different sports. So, we've done quite a few just again calls and virtual meetings with those athletes, and try to at least send them different resources on leadership topics or ways they can continue to stay involved with their various teams. But again, it's, as everyone can imagine, very virtual, and just try to plug into them where we can, knowing that it's tough to find new resources without being face to face with each other.
Yeah. So What do they call you? Do they call you Coach Bridget, Coach Reader, Coach? What do they call you?
All the incoming typically call me Coach Reader, and then I realize like, hey, it's Bridget. Like, just call me
Yeah.
Bridget. I'm good with that as long as the respect piece is there. I don't need Coach.
Gotcha. All right. So Bridget, then,
Yeah.
talk to us a little bit. You're a woman of faith, follower of Jesus Christ.
Hmm.
Like, how does that influence you as a coach? Maybe even give us a little bit of your faith background, a little bit of your testimony, and kind of how did you grow up in the church? Did you grow up, a follower of Christ? Like, what? Give us a little bit of that.
Yeah, I'll keep it nice and brief, but yeah, I did grow up in the church. I mean, I came from a Lutheran home, so it was instilled from my great grandparents to my grandparents to myself. Now, did I know how to apply that into my sport? Absolutely not. Those growing up, especially in high school, were separate entities. You gave up church for going to a club soccer game, kind of thing. So not until college, really, until I got plugged into Athletes in Action, which was a ministry there on Ball State's campus, did I really learn how they can go hand in hand and how they are hand in hand. And so for me, it was learning a lot in college. Again, how do I lean on my faith to help me push through different adversity and challenges in my sport, not keeping them separate, not keeping the faith for Sunday mornings and that's it. So very thankful that that has now carried over into my coaching, and how I, interact with my staff, my athletes, the athletic department. Um, and truly that's kind of molded, again, not just my athlete mindset, but now my coaching mindset. And hopefully being able to instill some of those traits or those thought processes into, my girls right now.
Yeah. So your team had some recent success, correct? Tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we came off a very successful season this fall. Great group of seniors that have kind of been with me from day one in the program. And so truly the last 4 years of, well, 3 years of hard work had paid off this season. So we came off a state championship in our staff's fourth season there at West, and truly setting us up for hopefully another great season this fall, all things providing.
Yeah. So those seniors that you had, would many of them kind of be playing club right now if it wasn't for everything that's going on? And how's that affecting them? And maybe even in addition to that, like, do you have any words of encouragement that you've used maybe with them for other athletes across the city who've kind of lost that senior season?
Yeah, most of them would be in club right now, or like I mentioned, we have a handful who should be running track right now. And so my encouragement to them is it's okay to be sad about missing out on certain things, whether it's a season, whether it's big senior high school events like prom and graduation and so forth. Um, but it's just reminding them that especially those who are trying to walk with Jesus, take it to him in prayer. Like, yes, be sad, but know that there's more ahead. It's okay to understand this is a weird time, and it's okay to be disappointed, but don't sit in that space. Understand that there's more ahead, there's more coming, and he's not just going to leave you high and dry and leave you sitting in disappointment for the next year. And so it's hard as a high schooler because all you see is the immediate, but just reminding them that like so much more is ahead. And yes, it's unknown and it's scary and unfamiliar, and you have no idea what the next month, 6 months, year is going to bring you. But that there's a lot of cool that comes in the unknown too. It's not all scary stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a good point. Let's talk about that a little bit. So in situations like this, you're right. There's a lot of good that comes from seasons where we're told to kind of stop, slow down,
Hmm.
reflect, process, right? So that's definitely, I mean, I don't know that it's ever been bigger than it is right now in my
Yeah.
40 years of life. So what are you maybe hoping that God will teach you or show you through this season where, all your work has pretty much gone virtual and you've been at home more and maybe a little more downtime, although I don't kind of know
Right.
exactly what your schedule looks like. Mine in some ways has gotten bigger,
Right.
but just talk to us a little bit about that. Like, what are you hoping God teaches you through all of this?
Yeah. I mean, something that I've realized already is, yes, I'm used to being go, go, go all the time and involved and active. And for many years being so heavily involved has, you know, put my focus on other things maybe than those that are important right in front of my face. And by that I mean, it's constantly everybody else, everybody else, everybody else. But one, this is made. I have no other excuses, right? Like I have time to spend an extra 20 minutes, hour, et cetera, in the word. But then I also have time to sit here and invest in, my loved ones, my direct family, who maybe, unfortunately, was an oversight because I was, too involved in other things. So, and honestly, hearing from a lot of my athletes too, it's as much as a pain as it was early on, had being cooped up in the house with their siblings or their parents. They've realized, some of them, how important it is and how much, hey, this quarantine has actually allowed my relationship with my sister, brother, or my mom to grow and to be worked on. Again, it may be challenging, and I've experienced that myself, where you're close quarters now with certain people, but it makes you either work on the hard stuff, or value maybe those things you took for granted in the past too.
That's really good. Yeah, well, cool. So I know we've talked a little bit pre-quarantine about trying to get FCA a little more plugged in there at Lakota West. And so look forward to kind of connecting with you some more on the other
Absolutely.
side of all of this and seeing what we can do to help minister to the young ladies that you have under your coachship and so on and so forth. But I know you're doing great things for the Lord. So if you do one more thing for us before we jump off here, just voice a prayer over the city of Cincinnati, over coaches and athletes, over your young ladies, as well as, just kind of the city at large. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Father, I just I thank you for this time to just spend chatting and really connecting with other believers, even though that's virtual and maybe not in the physical presence that we'd like. But we just trust that your hand is at work here, that you have something bigger and greater for us on the other side of all of this, and that there are, lessons to be learned in this, that it's not a punishment, and let's find the ways that we can be blessed through this time as well. I just ask your protective hand over all the coaches, the athletes, the athletic departments, the personnel, going through this right now, that we continue to stay safe and healthy, and not overlook those loved ones right in front of us, not overlook those opportunities to grow individually, but to grow closer and more connected with you, with those you've placed in our lives. And I just ask that we continue to turn our eyes towards you when things may seem hopeless or dark or grim, that we understand your light is on the other side of this and continually shining. So I just thank you for the opportunity to connect with believers, to connect in your family. And I just pray that we can come out of this and continue to stay unified and continuing your mission of reaching out to those student athletes, to staff members, to athletic departments, so that we can see your name grow here in Cincinnati. So I ask all this in your name.
Amen. Hey, Brigit, thank you so much. And again, look forward to connecting with you on the other side. Stay safe, be blessed, and we'll see you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate it.